The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.
Mga kapugad, ito po si Attorney Darwin Cañete. Inaanyayahan ko po kayong manood at makinig sa aming programang Pugad Vloggers dito po sa DZRJ 810 AM Radyo Bandido TV.
Watch and listen to Pugad Vloggers Monday to Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Airing on Sky Cable Channel 224 and on all DTT boxes. Simulcasting online on Facebook and YouTube. Listen and watch on your mobile devices. Just search DZRJ Radio Bandido.
Pugad Vloggers, ang kurap titirisin, salot sa bayan wawalisin, walang sasantuhin, ang saya-saya nakakabaliw, kasama natin ang tropang Pugad Vloggers. Pugad Vloggers.
Ayan! Good evening mga kapugad. This is Attorney Darwin Cañete. I'll be your host tonight kasi po hindi po available si Sir 𝗕𝗲𝗆 para sa kanyang slot for Friday, no? But I'm hoping to keep you guys company this Friday night, no? 7 to 8 p.m. dito rin po sa Radyo Bandido, DZRJ 810 AM, no? Kami po ay maririnig ninyo. Simultaneous po ang aming broadcast dito sa Facebook at saka sa YouTube. So, subaybay lang po kayo sa aming social media accounts. Lalong-lalo na rin po, meron din po kaming simulcast sa Channel 224 and meron din po kami sa DTT boxes. So anyway, ano bang magandang pag-usapan natin? Well, kanina ho, nakapagbasa ako ng article, no? Tungkol sa tinatawag ng Knowledge Society. And I got to thinking, no? Yung Singapore, yung palaging binabandera sa atin, where our good friend 𝗕𝗲𝗆 is residing, naging model, in a way, no? Naging model, system of government. No? But underneath actually that kind of government, for me, no, is the fact that what is the natural resource of Singapore? Hindi naman sila kilala for mining. Hindi rin sila kilala for food exports. Lalong-lalo na sa maritime power. They are not, no, they don't have a large fishing fleet like Japan. What is their economic resource? Napakasimple. Tao, people, knowledge service. They provide so many resources in terms of manpower. Because let's face it, it's an island, napakalaking isla. I think for a large part, di ba? They're able to fit an economy that is twice their size kung compared sa mga malalaking kapitbahay nila, no? On the basis of the fact that their population is highly educated, highly motivated, very, 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 very expert in their area of finances and other kinds of manpower services. No? And we're not talking about, hindi tayo nag-uusap ng manpower in terms of, let's say, domestic help or mga labor, no? Labor intensive. No. We're talking about services that demand a highly mataas na level ng edukasyon at kaalaman. Yung competitive, no? Competitive sa mga nakatira sa Europe and the US. Diba? These are the or Tokyo. Diba? Because that is a worthy example eh. We can actually have best of many worlds, no? Hindi ko naman sinasabi na doon din tayo mag-focus. But I'm just telling you guys na we have no, kung may limited man ang resources natin because of our you know, maliit lang ating area for agriculture, although that's the primary means of industry natin, no? Agriculture tayo, and meron din tayong sinasabing fishing because of our large fishing coastal areas. But we have over 100 million people. So, in terms of resources, tao ang dapat nating tingnan because that's what we have. Diba? And we have, of course, the famous Filipino diaspora, yung mga overseas OFWs natin, OCWs natin, no? Overseas workers natin na and those who are crewing, no? Yung mga nandoon sa mga barko na naglalayag all over the world. So we have a lot of maritime, diba? But this is on top of that, no? On top of that, because hindi lang naman tayo nakafocus doon sa mga ganon. And we should not really encourage those kinds of jobs na malalagay ang marami nating kababayan sa konting peligro, diba? We all know that, for example, in the case of many of our domestic workers, that they have been sometimes victimized, no, in human trafficking cases. So, yung mga nai-import or hindi man ganun, nai-employ sa mga oppressive conditions, we shouldn't really, no, mayroon talagang, sabi natin safe, no? But it's not a common story. It is not, diba? Meron tayo talagang tinatawag nating instances na hindi lahat pinapalad sa kanilang pakikipagsapalaran, diba? And one way to do that is to increase domestic employment. Kaya lang, if you're going to generate domestic employment, diba? Anong available? Magkukro sa fast food, contractual sa mga malls, sa mga big corporations. And problema doon, what would be the pay? The pay would be, well, we have minimum wage most of the time. It would not be viable for many of those businesses to employ people na matataas yung sweldo doing those particular kinds of work. Diba? Hindi ko sinasabi manual labor is not good. I'm just saying to you that we can do better. Diba? And that is where sinasabi kong knowledge society comes in. We can actually, alam natin to, and we've been discussing it for many years. Alam na mga policy makers natin is to, you know, dagdagan ang value added ng ating mga service workers. Diba? Yung sasabi nating, you know, technology oriented, because that is the one that's going to be moving forward. Many of the jobs, marami sa trabaho natin ay dahan-dahan ng either napapalitan ng machines or artificial intelligence, and in some cases, no, wala tayong magagawa kasi redundancy na yung human labor. Or talagang wala na, nagiging obsolete na at hindi na existing anymore yung jobs. So we have to look forward to a job market 5 to 10 years from now, parang job forecasting, diba? And that is where knowledge society comes in. We have to i-adjust ho natin ang ating lipunan para maging oriented sa kaalaman. Diba? Now, a lot of people would probably say, di ayusin natin ang edukasyon. But, you know, sabi nga nila, if you build it, they will come. Sabi nung pelikulang Field of Dreams. We can, remember the nursing glut nung nagkaroon ng nauso ang nursing jobs abroad, and then everybody started to take nursing courses, and then dumating yung point that the nursing opportunities dried up, diba? And you have also many graduates that are in jobs that they can no longer, that the job market is no longer there. Mahirap yung ganong klaseng forecasting, diba? So you start with employment, no? So ano yung mga jobs mo na? Well, first of all, technology, diba? The silicon, anything surrounding computer, AI, mga ganon, diba? That seems to be the trend, diba? Yun ang magiging ano natin, you were looking forward to that, knowledge society. But knowledge society is different already, no, because of technology. Yung hindi na centralized yung knowledge, hindi na may, it is already more or less diffuse. Anybody with a computer can interact with others with computers. That's why we have social media, di ba? So, hindi na yung, malayo na tayo sa panahon ng vacuum tubes computer na isang kwarto ang size ng computer. It's literally the size of your palm. Yung palad. Computing power is that, no? Pero problema lang, again, do we have the know-how, the expertise, the vision to harness that particular kind of power, di ba? The computing power, not only of the, kasi nangyayari kasi what our phones, our mobile devices, nagiging content consumer na lang tayo din, and naging delivery ng content as what we do now in Pugad Vloggers. We deliver content to you through social media, di ba? Nagde-deliver kami ng panonoorin ninyo. But that's a passive thing. What I'm saying, tinutukoy ko po sa inyo is yung knowledge being mobilized, no? Yung nagagamit, nadi-deploy to be productive. Diba? Yung marami sa atin dito, we know about the rules of entrepreneurship. Alam natin magnegosyo, ganun, diba? But how many of us actually realize that many of the functions of entrepreneurship, yung sa'yo, pagnenegosyo, diba, can be done easier kung marunong kang gumamit ng software to track down your business decisions, tsaka feedback on the business decisions. Diba? Master mo yung magbenta, pero master mo ba mag-project ng iyong sales? Master mo ba mag-project ng iyong, diba, syempre, diba? Hindi tulad, let's say, karinderya. Okay, karinderya. Alam mo, magbuluto ng ulam, magbenta ng ulam, magserbisyo ng ulam. Problema, maraming ulam na papanis dahil hindi nabebenta. May mga luto ka na. So, those are facts that you can record and process. Those are data points yon. Na anong ulam mabenta, anong ulam gusto ng tao, ano yung mga average cost, di ba? So we can project what dishes to sell, what dishes to cook, how much ang volume at quantity, mga ganon. Those are data points. Okay? Ano po yan? Mga datos na pwede mong i-process at lalabas ka ng decision na ma-optimize yung profit center mo bilang negosyo. Those are the kind of intellectual things that, the capacity to use technology, gamitin na teknolohiya para tumulong sa'yo magdesisyon sa negosyo mo araw-araw. But very few lang, or it's more of a specialized skill, no? To integrate technology in your economic activities. It takes a special kind of education, a special kind of ability. And ang aking paniniwala, hindi ganon ka-integrated yung ganong klaseng decision making sa ating educational system. We have not yet centered our ability to integrate technology into our educational system. Okay, I get it. Ayaw ninyong gumagamit ng calculator for mathematical problems. That's good. But sooner or later, you'll have to adapt integrating using a calculator. Diba? It's one thing. You don't have to prove anything. Para sa akin, practical lang. Diba? Na it's faster and more accurate to press a button than do the maths in your head. I know for a fact, diba? In a way, may konting disdain yung ating teaching profession on using devices and the reliance on devices. Gets ko yun. But the problem is, we're talking about here integrating technology. So pag, you don't want to, ayaw ko mag-create tayo ng tinatawag na yung attitude against technology, yung Luddite philosophy na masama ang technology. No. Diba? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we have to embrace. Kailangang yakapin natin ang teknolohiya sa ating day-to-day activities. We already do that by cellphone, social media, etc. But I think more than content consumption, yung paggamit ng devices for our entertainment or to pass the time, we need to be able to integrate, no? Isama natin sa ating comfortable tayo na gamitin yung yung mga devices, yung mga programs, 'di ba? Sa ating everyday profession. For example, lawyers, if you want to, 'di ba, yung mga billing ninyo sa mga clients ninyo, you can integrate that. The way you bill your time as serving making pleadings, ganun na, automatic na yung billing system ninyo, yung pagsisweldo, 'di ba? You know how much you spend every day as a lawyer on your office. So, yung mababudget ninyong kita ninyo, 'di ba? You know how to set your rates that is fair to you and to your client. Yung mga, 'di ba? Hindi na uso yung ano eh. And it's a good thing, no? To automate everything, to automate many things, no? Basta very very careful lang kayo sa data entry. It's easier for you to compute your taxes, 'di ba? You don't have to be an accountant. Hindi ka mo kailangan magkumuha ng accountant para gumamit ng or malaman kung magkano ang taxable mo eh. There are automated ways for you to program in your tax payments to the BIR. 'Di ba? Meron 'yan. There was a time siguro I was like over the summer years ago, no? TurboTax. Inaanak ko 'yan eh. I tried to learn TurboTax. 'Di ba? Mga ganung klaseng programs. Believe me, dinosaur na ako. I was around when they made WordStar. That's how old I am when I was using computers, no? DOS pa noon, DOS 6.0 pa yon, and then you have to load the separate WordStar program. I was around when they switched. When people were learning Fortran, COBOL, no? HTML was hardly there, no? Meron pa kami Java pa, 'di ba? Those were the programs. I'm not a computer programmer. I just like to learn, 'di ba? That's why I'm comfortable with technology. So ganon ang gusto nating gawing attitude. And mayroon na tayong jump start. Our children are very comfortable with technology. 'Di ba? Very comfortable sila sa paggamit ng devices. It's practically part of their daily routine. 'Di ba? So, there you go. So, knowledge society. For me, let's start with equipment. Gamit. 'Di ba? Right now, anong kailangan natin sa ating knowledge society? The foundation is always information structure. So, malaking bagay na we are asking telco companies to lower the rates because that's the price of access. Kung mas maliit yung rate ng pag-access ng technology tulad ng internet connection, 'di ba? You make it accessible. And then, yung tinatawing one tower policy, yung sinasabi natin na kung nagrereklamo na magtayo itong mga telco companies ng towers nila na kailangan para maglagay ng internet coverage sa isang area, di mag-share kayo ng cost. Mag-share kayo ng gastos. So, hindi lang naman isang tower ang tower is neutral eh. Pwede nyo paghatian yung cost and then, 3 or 4 telco companies will put a connection to that tower that they built, no? Mas mababa yung cost of building sa last mile areas, mga bundukin. Diba? You bring computer literacy to the last mile. Once you have the infrastructure there, mas maraming maiengganyong gumamit ng technology and they will find creative ways to use technology. That's ang thinking ko doon. Diba? And you make internet devices cheaper. Diba? You start with that. Ilang inventaryo ng maraming telco companies mga napaglumaang devices that are still serviceable, 'di ba? Na pwede pang i-donate o gamit. Bigay natin. During the pandemic, we were forced to be creative to continue education, 'di ba? Ganun ang nangyari nung pandemic. And somehow naitawid natin 'yon. How? Using internet. In my case, no, I'm a lawyer. I'm appearing in court, and the Supreme Court was able to make use of the platform called Microsoft Teams. I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying it. Yun ang ginamit natin. And nakapagpatuloy ang mga hearings kahit na may pandemic, kahit walang face-to-face encounter. Diba? Nakatuloy na ano natin na we were able to break through the restrictions of COVID lockdowns because of a platform called Microsoft Teams. And right now, I am communicating to you from my house through the platform of Zoom. Diba? I don't have to battle through traffic. Hindi na ako kailangan mag-commute from my place here in the north to Makati, where the station of DCRJ, diba? Hirap na hirap ako noon makaabot on time and have to find parking, diba? And just to go to the, and pinaka-difficult part is going through 2 floors because I am a bit, madali ako mapagod, diba? So there, nakapag-broadcast tayo without any, difficulty on my part. My only puhunan in being able to reach you guys is the Zoom, my computer connection, which is, affordable, and of course, my internet access device. Diba? Importante yan. Okay, so, ganon. We've integrated technology in our own broadcast. Diba? Pero, sanayan yan eh. Diba? Sanayan yan. Ako may pagkateki ako eh, but I don't know about, your mileage may vary. But, kung tayo late na sa atin, walang problema doon. It's the next generation I'm talking about, no? Na we have to bring them up in an environment na technology, they will embrace technology. Parang as natural as as paghinga, no? Kasing natural as breathing, that you are, pag nakakita kayo ng devices, hindi naman dependence. I'm not talking about dependence, no? Or sabihin natin addiction. No. It's parang it seems natural. Meron kasing, I don't know, psychological trick, no? In my house, if you want to eat candy, it's accessible kasi I keep candy at home. Hindi mo ginagawang craving ang candy because it's so easily available, no? So wala na masyadong enticement na thinking na gusto kong having candy, mga ganun. Parang ganun technology. It's addiction at first. Pero pag maging na yan, kung medyo blasé na kayo, medyo konting sawa na kayo, it's no longer addictive. It's just there. Makaka-tune out ka if you want to. Diba? Mga ganun eh. Ganung klaseng psychological conditioning, the technology, hindi lang, pag ginawa mo kasing content consumption lang, talagang addictive. But if you make it part of performing a job, it's no longer addictive. Parang, do you get it? Parang ganun eh. So, nandun tayo, technology. So, kailangan natin access to the internet cheaper. Devices should be made cheaper. And to do that, for me, let's start with anong kayang gawin ng government. Dalawa lang naman pwede yan eh. We can have yung one path, which is sinasabing internet. The government will sponsor internet connections for everybody. Diba? Yun ang pangako ng maraming gobyerno. Lahat libre internet para sa inyo lahat. That's good. We will have a backbone. But, where's it? Diba? Parang mahirap yun eh. If we wait until magkapera ang gobyerno, diba? Might as well encourage the public sector to invest in that particular line. So we have to have legislation. Para sa akin, let's start with legislating laws na mas mababa or lowering the taxes of importing technological devices. 'Di ba? Yung mga ginagamit data centers, 'Di ba? Let's incentivize creation of data centers. Maglalagay tayo ng mga storage areas for all the, like for YouTube or for Google, 'di ba? Data centers, mag-establish tayo. Let's set aside properties and land, and create yung mga equivalent ng data centers na kung saan pwedeng magkaroon ng hub, technological hubs tayo, 'di ba? Once you develop the infrastructure na knowledge society na tayo, nako, we will attract knowledge society workers, mga IT workers, 'di ba? You make it more attractive to study IT, information technology. Diba? You know, one of my favorite movies, Hackers. It was the one starring Angelina Jolie when she was very, very young, no? And it's funny, no? Medyo, it was limited by its time, but makikita mo talaga na the drive for technological freedom is there. Diba? Parang medyo anarchist way of having a information society or a knowledge society. Diba? And then siguro let's start with elementary or high school students. As that early exposed already na, di ba, ito problema ko minsan bawal cellphone sa klase. We know because it's distracting. But instead of forbidding the devices, maybe what we should do is, ingrain ethical use of devices. Alamin or trying to educate our children when and when not to access the devices. I think that's more, for me, it's more of a long-term thing, no? Kasi kapag babawal mo lang, you either develop a negative stereotype of devices or you create some sort of trauma on the children to be averse to technological devices. Ayaw natin naman yan. Alam natin, parang parang yung panahon ng Dungeons and Dragons game yan. Everybody thought because of the devil imagery, satanic na yung game. But we all found out 20, 10, 15 years later, it was not really harmful, no? Nag-overreact lang. It's like parents overreacting to dirty lyrics and music. Diba? We all know what happened to that. Diba? Censorship never really works. What you can do is challenge information with more information. Corrective information. Diba? Yeah, that's the nature of knowledge society. Information, agnostic information. Yung walang kinikilingang side. The thing is truth, diba? That's why you practice our students, diba, to be able to process information and misinformation. Hindi yung outright censorship. That's how you create a knowledge society. The ability to create citizens who are critical thinkers. Hindi yung naniniwala sa sabi-sabi. They were able to filter information, truth, accuracy from all the mass of misinformation and data that's out there, di ba? Yun ang gusto natin Anyway, gusto ko munang batiin itong mga nandito sa ating thread, no? Si Roxanne Costa, good evening. Zepi Sabala, good evening. Myla Manitas, good evening sa iyo. So thank you for joining us, no? Anyway, going on to what I'm saying. Information society. Knowledge society. Information society is a band, no? O 𝗕𝗹𝗆 Monte Cristo. Good evening din sa'yo. Devices, make it the cost. Mas malitin mo yung cost ng entry of technological items like, businesses na mag-establish bilang data centers, no? Another thing is, of course, incentivizing, no? Teachers, faculty, to switch to data or IT type of faculty. So, ang gobyerno they will send them abroad to learn. Transfer their skills ng mga foreign faculty sa ating mga Pilipino. And for me, government should also invest in our own workers. marami sa ating mga, job orders, yung mga matagal na sa civil service, matagal ng government worker, dapat yearly, there should be for me, for those who are willing and magkaroon ng certifications on using IT. Diba? Let's start with those already in the workforce natin. Diba? And hopefully, magplano na mag-phase in ng technology in many of our frontliners. Diba? Kasi kailangan natin accuracy, kailangan natin service, kailangan natin ng speed, kailangan natin ng upgrading. Diba? Ilan na sa inyo ang pagod na at inis na every time you want to go to interact with a government agency, you have to fill out a form. Diba? Kailangan niyo mag-form, mag-fill up na ganon. Sige, share lang po kayo, share. Thank you, Mancha. Thank you so much. Petrona Nona Parunga, good evening sa iyo. So, you have, diba, nakakainis ng mag-fill out ng form every time you want to be interacting or may transactions ka sa government. Why cannot it be online? Why do you have to be there personally? Diba? Kung may portal naman sana ang bawat agency and, may national ID ka naman, diba? And if you want to transact using your own, mag-create ka ng secure file, mag-secure ka, diba? Facebook is not a government agency, yet they are very, relatively speaking, they're secure in terms of verifying your data for two-factor authentication. Diba? Ako marunong gumamit ng Microsoft and Google Authenticator. So there are devices and ways for you to be able to establish kung sino ka using only your national ID and a secure account. So ang point lang naman ng government agencies to know na kung sino ang kanilang katransaksyon. I own a firearm. I'm a registered firearm owner. Nagustuhan ko yung ginawa ng PNP Firearms Division, the LTOC. The transaction is online. Mag-apply ka online. Then i-upload mo yung mga transaction, yung pictures ng iyong mga requirements, and then kapag na-process na, sasubmit mo na lang. I don't have to wait in line or to wait for the cashier or the teller, equivalent, no? The frontliner to input the data on my form. Ako na mismo nag-input ng form ko. And once they verify kung sino ka and using all the authenticated documents, solved na. That saves me time. I know when maiikot ko yung lakad ko. Diba? Yun lang naman kailangan natin. Productive ang araw natin eh. Sino ba, di ba naalala niyo yung mga unang araw na you have to magpaalam ka pa sa trabaho para makipag-transaction sa bangko? So you have to go to the bank near lunchtime kaya ang haba ng pila, di ba? But these days wala na yon. Di ba? Because if I have a phone and I have my app on my phone, I can deposit, withdraw, transfer money. Kung kailangan ko ng cash, I just use my ATM. Marami yan. Even in 7-Eleven, I can go to 7-Eleven. May ATM na sila doon. 24/7 na yan. I don't have to wait in anybody's line. Diba? Mga ganong klaseng developments. And we can apply that to government. You don't actually have to wait anywhere. Diba? Hindi mo na kailangang pumila. Government can do so much integrating technology on many things. Diba? All you need talaga is, to implement, to make it cheaper. Diba? So anyway, ano ba natin? Okay. Wait. Okay. So, yun mga kapugad, no? Wait, basahin ko muna itong nandito sa ating no? So, again, the price of entry, we have to invest. Diba? Frontliners natin, training. equipment, ganon. Internet connection, secure backbone, yung hindi nahahack. Kasi we all know what happened to Comelec. Di ba? Yung database ng mga voters natin, I don't know kung nagamit or what, but we all know. Mga data breaches, mga ganon. Once you are able to do that, diba? So anyway, 7:38 na pala. Going back to Singapore, knowledge workers nila, napakarami. And they pay them highly, ha? Mataas yung average pay ng Singapore yan. Diba? So aside from government, we also need to invest in our IT people. Pwede tayo maging back office ng mundo eh. You know, we have already, diba? India has done that. Singapore has done that. Meron tayong call centers, of course, but we need to upgrade from call centers. Diba? We need to be, tayo na magiging tayo na yung mag-handle ng mga logistics, diba? Yung medical transcription, legal transcription. Those are very, very, very specialized IT professions. Kasi yung machine, yung dictating, hindi sila kabisado yung mga specialized terms eh. So they always misspell it eh. But if you're a law firm na kailangan mo ng instant translation, 'di ba, or transcription, malaking bagay yung legal transcribers, yung marunong ng context, marunong ng tamang spelling, 'di ba? Medical transcription is very, very important. It reduces the cost of evaluating sicknesses, mga ganun, no? Marami tayong pwedeng gawin, mga kapugad talaga. In IT, in knowledge, being a knowledge society, we need to invest talaga in the infrastructure. Let's start with, free access to our Wi-Fi, di ba? Ganun yan. Or at least lower the cost. Yung affordable. Di ba? Internet that is mass-based. And how do we do that? Let's make the cost of operating internet businesses lower. Tsaka yung mga content, yung mga nag-overload ng ating, 'di ba? Let's see kung pwede nating i-prioritize yung bandwidth natin for education purposes and yung talagang for production purposes. Yung content creation, yung content consumption, I think pag naging viable and profitable na, saka na natin masyado bigyan ng priority yan. We are, the world, we have to adjust to the world that is changing. Kalaban na natin AI in the future. I'm not saying Terminator, but we have to make sure na tayo, in step tayo, di ba? In step tayo, mga kapugad. Yan, Jerry Sims, good evening sa'yo from Olongapo City. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Yun. Siguro, sana yung Pangulo natin who has been championing digital economy, no? We are going to have a talk with the telco companies, di ba? Are you investing enough in the last mile, in the last kilometer of our country? Kasi wala namang problema sa Metro Manila, saturated na yan eh. Bawat inch natin dito merong internet connection eh. I'm talking about places like Sulu, places like Apari. Do we have the remote areas of Bataan? Diba? Those are the kinds of areas that we're talking about, na kung saan either spotty yung internet connection, di ba? We can do better, di ba? To make it accessible sa mga, marami sa ating mga kababayan, no? Lagyan mo ng kuryenteng area nila, let's say, generators or solar power para magka-power yung areas nila. And then you give them internet devices. They don't have to cross. Hindi na kailangang tumawid pa ng mga bundok at mga sapa para magkaroon ng connection sa mga teachers nila. Diba? We can have education sa area nila mismo. Diba? We can, disaster coordination, mga ganun, no? So many things that we can do with technology. If only the cost of entry, the cost of deployment, the cost of use, the education will be lowered. Diba? Hindi ko lang alam if we're still worrying about hacking sa dito sa diba, DICT, but we have to be, those are already spilled milk, no? Ano na 'yon? Lessons learned already, no? I think pwede nating i-set aside muna 'yon and let's concentrate on building the infrastructure na hindi naman kontrolado ng mga profit takers. We need an information knowledge society structure na mass based, kontrolado ng ating gobyerno at kontrolado din ng mga users, na hindi kami disenfranchised dahil wala kaming pera na kontrolin yung infrastructure. It should be democratized, di ba? And gusto namin sana information that is that is free from censorship, di ba? What you don't need censorship. You don't need you want to counter misinformation with more information. Yan ang philosophy ko doon. Very Elon Musk, di ba? Free to speak. Yun. So, ano pa, mga kapugat? Well, gusto kong batiin yung ating mga nag-birthday ngayong buwan. Wink wink. And hopefully you have many more birthdays to come, no? Ano pa ba? Well, there must be some sort of 2024 na no? And it's already coming to the second year of the PBBM administration, no? And we are very, very hopeful that this year meron talagang movement in terms of building the digital economy that the President has promised. And I think there are so many things that we need to do pa, no? Aside from building the infrastructure, we need to build talaga a secure digital economy basis, no? 'Di ba? Yung mga ating mga kababayan na nag-switch na to online selling, yung mga ating mga kababayan na nagiging biktima ng mga online scams, yung sa e-commerce, there are so many problems that we have to discuss because andito na yan. We are no longer studying the problem. The problem is here. So, we can hindi na mag-move na from theory to practice. Kasi okay, let's say you ordered something abroad or you ordered something from a seller in the Philippines. Pagdating sa'yo, bato na lang, but you paid for it already through online currency, through online banking, through GCash or some equivalent debit system. Diba? So anong recourse mo? Kanino ka tatakbo? Sino ang kukunan mo ng refund? Diba? Yung mga ganon. We have not yet established the rules and the know-how to go after cyber fraud. Alam natin ang bawal, hindi natin alam paano natin mapapanagot yung gumawa ng kasalanan. Because, it takes so much time, it takes so much effort, mahirap po mag-track down ng frauds online. Overwhelmed ang ating PNP because, let's face it, hindi ganon din ang masyadong na training o kulang ang deployed personnel. Kulang ho tayo sa resources to go after this scammers abroad. Napag-usapan ko sa last program ko with CM ni Amnol yung mga online scams, but that's the tip of the iceberg. Every day, mga Pilipino na i-involve sa e-commerce, either nag-order ka online, nag-pay ka online, mga ganon. And simply, it is quite, sabi nating hassle. No? Victimize ka na lang. Diba? Pero, the scammers are getting better and better. So, hindi mo alam kung na-scam ka o hindi talaga. Sa huli na lang, pagtapos na. There is no preemptive. Diba? strike to stop the scammers right now, or we don't even have the effort to do that. So much has to be done. We have to secure our e-commerce transactions para yung mga mandaraya ay mahuli at tayo medyo kampante makipag-transaction even through computers. See, that's part of the knowledge society. That when we transact and make money online through the internet, that we need to monetize our content. O lang ginagawa ng mga bloggers, di ba? Some bloggers make money really through the platform, di ba? Walang problema doon because these are big US corporations. Pero yung marami din, yung mga nakipag-interact through like Facebook Marketplace, yung carousel, mga gano'n, no? Mga eBay, you take your chances. Di ba? Okay lang if you're paying through PayPal, may dispute yan. No problem yan. Pero pag GCash yan, once na already, or any kind of debit, payment, pag lumabas na yan sa account mo, babay na yan. Vouch can only do so much. Iba dyan, mga troll accounts at mga konsyabang accessory accounts, they will vouch for each other. So magtulong-tulong sa fraud. Hindi rin secure yan. Diba? Most of the time, ang advice ko sa inyo, face-to-face when you're transacting online. Diba? Or kung talagang mas gusto nyo, diba? Yung tipid, yung mga nangunguripot, if a bargain is too good to be true, malamang it's too good to be true. Di totoo yan. Scamming yan. Scam. Fraud. Diba? You have to learn, dapat meron din kayong resources or may ability kayo mag-distinguish ng scam. Diba? So, you need to do that. Maraming scam talaga sa internet. So, part of knowledge society, part of ability to, diba, analyze its education. O ikaw naloko, huwag mo na ipasa yung katangahan mo sa anak mo. Diba? Educate your children. Make them not only computer literate, but being able to analyze. Kasi faceless ang minsan ng ang internet transactions. You're only going by name and reputation. And some of those reputation can be fabricated and manufactured. Parang yung mga online consensus, di ba? Kala mo sikat siya, yung pala marami lang hinire na troll accounts para pasikatin. Diba? You can fabricate popularity. Pwede ka nang mameke ng virality sa internet kasi nakakabili ka ng followers. Number of followers can be bought. Diba? So, hindi organic. Pwede kang mapeke dyan. Diba? Lalong-lalo sa politika. I just aside this, no? Politika, akala mo popular o sikat o viral lang isang pangalan. Yun pala, may troll farms. Can fabricate virality. Nabibili yan. Fake followers, fake accounts. So be wiser. Isa yan kasama sa knowledge society yan. Being able to distinguish, di ba, organic and true, di ba, from the fabricated and manufactured consent. Di ba? In a way, for me, that should be a crime that you are faking consensus. Pero there's no legislation for that. It's not a regulated thing. It's not a regulated activity. Di ba? So anyway, gusto kong batiin ng aking family, my wife Wilma, my tukis Grayson and Sophia, my co-host and Pugat Vloggers, sila Doc Ethel Pineda, Maricar Serrano, Professor Van Ibernas, Mark Lopez, Tom Berenguer, Orion Perez, Harold Tan. And I'd like also to greet, of course, my mother Vilma in Davao City. If she's watching, ma, hello, good evening sa'yo. Also my sisters and my co-workers, diba? Dito sa Pugat Vloggers, we are very, very happy to see you here na nakikinig kayo sa amin. Okay, hello kay Apon Lee, Boyet Perea Bras, Abi Taurus, good evening sa inyo. Yun, thank you so much for watching, and always malaking bagay sa amin na nasusundan yung aming program, no. We are a small program, but we hope to be of help to and entertainment kahit papaano sa inyo. Anyway, dito po sa amin sa Radyo Bandido, we are always grateful for our listeners and followers. Next program ho is Oras ng Himala, and followed by Kakampi with Bernard Tan. Gusto ko rin pong batiin ang aking kaibigan si Ara Panganiban. May replay po kami usually the morning after our our evening broadcast. So you can catch us. No? Binabati ko kayo nakikinig sa amin sa umaga. Salamat po at nasusundan niyo ang aming programa sa kahit replay, no? And I hope you enjoy our content, no? Yun. So anyway, thank you so much mga kapugad. Today's Friday. Be with your family, stay safe, and have a happy weekend. Attorney Darwin Cañete. Goodbye. Thank you so much.
Pugad Vloggers, ang kurap titirisin, salot sa bayan wawalisin, walang sasantuhin. Ang saya-saya, nakakabaliw, kasama natin ang tropang Pugad Vloggers. Pugad Vloggers.
The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.